Who are you?
I'm Maika.
What do you do?
I'm a filmmaker. I love acting. I've grown up dancing, so I've been a dancer for 19 years. I'm also a graphic designer. I also dabble in music a little bit with cello. I'm starting to learn guitar. I am a lover. I love people. I'm someone that loves to experience minimalistic moments or bigger moments. I like being present, and I like to observe and be with people, be with nature, be with the world, and love it all.
When do you think your passion for filmmaking began?
So I originally wanted to be an architect and interior designer, and my hometown Columbus, Indiana is very architecturally dense. There's a lot of like world famous architects that have their work in my hometown. There's also a lot of design. I wanted to go into that, and then my sophomore year of high school, a movie came out called Columbus, and it was about my hometown. I went and I saw it because I was like, I love architecture, I love design. I'd love to watch a movie about this, and it's my hometown. After watching it, I was in shock because I was like, I have lived here since I was 3 years old, and this is the first time I'm seeing my hometown from a completely different perspective. It just looks so different to me. I'm still like so blown away by it and how they were able to just tell the story of the city of Columbus in a very new perspective that even people that grew up there almost didn't recognize it. But that sparked my interest in film and how powerful storytelling is.
What about graphic design?
I think because of growing up in Columbus and because there's a lot of architecture and design, that definitely played a big role in it, probably subconsciously, because when I came to college, I originally was just going to study film. And then after my first semester at Columbia, my mom was like, "You ever thought about design? Because you're really good at it." I was like, I've never thought about going into the design field, but that is like not a bad idea. Yeah, I think from there was kind of when that took off. But I remember like I used to doodle a lot. I used to make my own bookmarks in elementary school. And I had like given to my friends. I would like design like hypothetical film posters, stuff like that. I just kind of made my own work just for fun, and I never considered that you could make money off of something that you love. I think I just thought that if you're gonna make money on something, it's gonna be something that you don't really like. But yeah, I'm glad that I love what I do.
What about modeling?
So my senior year of high school was COVID year, and everyone was doing like before everything shut down, people were doing like senior portraits and stuff, and I wasn't into that. I was like, my parents know what I look like. They have pictures of me. I didn't really care. And then I think around the time that graduation happened, so it was a couple of months of COVID lockdown, my friend was like, "Hey, do you want to do like a COVID safe photo shoot for my portfolio?" I was like, "Sure," like that. I didn't really care. So we had our masks, and we stayed safely distanced from each other. We just walked around like downtown of Columbus and took photos. And when I got them back, I was like, I did not realize that I look like that when I'm like not paying attention, or because there were a lot of photos that were candid, and I was like, that's really interesting to see myself not looking at myself in the mirror or in my reflection. And so then from there, I started to think about modeling a lot more, and I really like that. I'm also, a person of color, and I'm female, and there's not, with everything for, getting more representation, stuff like that. But I also think for me personally, being able to model and see myself in different capacities is very helpful in terms of like finding your own self-love. I definitely started doing self-portraits more than working with photographers, and I love doing self-portraits because I like to get inspired by music or maybe an idea for a film, and I create my own world, and I create like a whole like atmosphere for my self-portraits rather than like editorial work.
Can you talk about some projects you're most proud of and why they're so critical to you?
When I was in high school, we had this thing for all the seniors called the Senior Project. And it was just like a project that you can do that, you know, utilizes a certain skill set that you have that benefits the community somehow. And I chose to do an artistic documentary called Enigma. And I came up with this idea completely by myself. I directed, I produced, I edited. I set up everything all on my own. And what this project was about was 4 separate individuals and who they are, anything from like their past or their present that is shaping or changing who they are, just as a way to learn about individual self-growth and, you know, I guess the complexity of each person that you're surrounded by. And the purpose of this project was to hopefully help people realize how raw and authentic everyone is around them. You know, you may think like, oh, this person's really mean and they're really fake or whatever, but that's really just surface level stuff. You know, you really have to dig deeper and show you care to a lot of people to be able to get to the valuable things. And a lot of people don't care, or they think that, you know, oh, like I don't have the time to learn about so many people. But I think, you know, the quality of the people that you're around is more important than, you know, the quantity of people. Another project that I'm also very proud of is one that I had an idea for earlier this year is called Body of a Woman, and it started out as a photography series, and then I wanted it to be a short film, you know, with no dialogue, more so experimental to invoke feeling in people. But I never got around to that because I was gonna do this over the summer, but I needed more time to heal and process my assault that had happened last year. And that is what the project is about. It was about the emotional and mental effects, the hardships that survivors have to go through. Because after it happened to me, I didn't know a lot of people that I could talk to about it, because not everyone's out going like, yeah, this tragic thing happened to me. So I had no idea who I could talk to, and so I Googled a lot of stuff, and I was reading a bunch of articles, and all I could find was all these statistics, you know, this amount of people or this percent of this demographic, all these things. And I found some comfort in that, to know that I am not the only one, or I'm not the first one, but if anything, it made me more sad to know that it's a common thing that happens to people, and that there's not a lot of change happening for it. And so that is what sparked my idea for this project. And so right now, all it is currently is the photo shoot that I had for it, and I plan to extend the photo shoot as well as a series. But I would love to turn this into a short someday. But I'm really proud of what the project is now, and I'm really proud of what it will be in the future. And I would also say that this project I will also be very proud of. I'm proud of it now. I'm proud to be thought of, to be included. So it's on my list.
Who do you create for?
I really just create for myself. All the ideas that I come up with make me feel good about myself. I feel very confident, and if I have a really good idea, I am instantly motivated to keep going and do it all at once. And you know, the whole process I really appreciate, the creative process. As I begin to create whatever I'm doing, whether that's filmmaking, acting, design, dance, whatever, the purpose of what I'm doing, or I guess like who I'm doing this for, sort of branches out. So it starts with me, and then it kind of spiders into, you know, I'm also doing this for survivors. I'm doing this for other artists who are looking for inspiration or don't know who they are yet as a person. I'm doing this for people whose voices are spoken over. It becomes much more than something that is just about me. It then becomes, I do what I'm doing for myself, and when I've learned and grown from what I create, it is then a gift for the people that need it.
Are there any projects you're currently working on now?
Yeah, I have a couple. I have one that I auditioned for earlier this semester, and it's a short film that's it's like a queer horror psychological thriller. I'm so excited to do it because I feel like I never really talk about like my sexuality all that much in terms of like preferences with people. You know, it is part of my identity, but it's not something that I put forward, you know, as like the first thing that people get to know about me. Because I think that there are so many other things about me that are more interesting or more important to me for people to learn about. But with this project, I'll be able to step into that a lot more. Yeah, and I get to work with people that, you know, I've like just met, but we're like all super close now. Yeah, but that's something I'm really excited about. We'll start shooting after New Year's, around then. And another project I'm working on currently it's a really small, just like independent thing. It's called XOM, as like a sign-off to a letter. This project I started this semester actually, and what it is I started writing letters to myself a year ago. And myself a year ago is the version of me that was absolutely heartbroken and devastated following my assault. And like, you know, I was so confused, and you know, I didn't want to be here anymore. And so this year, after learning everything that I did, I was like, you know what? As tragic as it was, I knew that I was going to come out stronger, but it was hard for me to fully believe that. But I knew that I would somehow, someday, get to where I am now. And I'm so thankful that it happened so quickly, because a lot of people, it takes years, if not a lifetime. But with this project, you know, whenever I feel like writing, which is at the most random times, I will say, I will write a letter to myself a year ago and reassure myself and talk about all the good things that will soon come, whether that be experiences with other people, experiences within the world, or things that I just learn about myself and how to love myself better. But that is something that I started writing, and I was like, you know what, I feel very proud of this, and I want to share it with people because I think it could help other survivors. So I started posting them on my Instagram, and I had like quite a bit of people. I had like a handful of people reach out to me privately, and they were like, this really helped me process through things, whether they were a survivor or not. You know, we all have past traumas, current traumas, and I felt so fulfilled. I felt so warm. It was like a hug. It was like a hug for me now and for me a year ago. But it was nice to see people get inspired by that and write or create on their own from that project.
What's your favorite part about doing this?
My favorite part about doing solo work, I'll start there, is I get to learn about myself and my own fulfillment. I learn about what works for me as an artist, my creative process. I learn about, you know, more so about like the way I think. I get to learn about the way that I appreciate my art, other people's work. Yeah, that's what I would say about solo work. And then with working in teams, because I kind of do a mixture of both of those, I really appreciate being able to watch and learn about human connection and the way that people experience each other. It's really fascinating to see how different it is, but also how similar. And even if something is very different in the way that other people experience art and the way they experience other people, even if it's different than yourself, you find a lot of comfort in that difference. And I think that's something that a lot of people don't connect to the rest of the world, because a lot of people think, oh, there's so many differences, there's so many things that set me apart from other people, but they don't they don't go a step further and see how much comfort there is in that. And I think it's that last step that will draw a lot of people together. And I think artists do that very well. And so that's what I really appreciate about doing solo work and working in groups.
What's a life lesson that you learned or relearned this year?
This past year and like end of last year has kind of prolonged into one long lesson. I guess a little bit of a backstory. Last October, I was sexually assaulted by one of my best friends. And I had to relearn like so much stuff. It felt like I didn't know how to function as a person anymore. I didn't understand the dynamics between friendships. I didn't understand myself and how I'm supposed to evolve and interact with other people. And then that kind of blended into this year and taught me a lot about love and how different it is compared to what I initially thought. So I think more than anything else, I had to relearn what love is and the different variations of it. And specifically for me, I think with like friendships, I know that I am well balanced in my friendships, my best friends in the whole world. I have two favorite people outside of my family. And I have no doubt that our love is unequal. It's very balanced, it's very solid. I feel that very deeply. But in terms of like romantic relationships, that is something that I didn't really experience until, halfway through college. And what I learned through that, or I guess maybe something that I just kind of accepted the fact of the matter, is that I might just be the person that loves more intensely, someone that is going to fall faster, someone that's going to hurt harder. I was always very sad thinking about that growing up, because I felt that I was always the one left standing. I was always the one looking back on people. And I don't mean to say this in a way that discredits other people's love and care for me. I think that sometimes people are more deep and more connected with their love than others. And that's okay. It's not supposed to be a competition. It's not supposed to be a way to, again, like I said, discredit other people. But yeah, that is something that I really learned a lot more about this year. And I guess overall, I learned a new part about what it is to love people and to love things, and how beautiful it is to be able to have the gift of life. I've come to appreciate all the hardships and all the difficult things that come with love, anxiety, grief, but also happiness and anger. I think it's one of the most complex, if not the most complex, human emotion there is. And I think because of its complexity, I don't think people will ever be able to fully understand the magnitude that love holds. And I think that's a beautiful thing. And a lot of people have a hard time with that. But I find it very comforting that as human beings, we don't have the capacity to fully understand that. And I love that. And I thought more about this, and I think that wherever our energies or entities came from before we became people and had like a physical vessel to live in, I think that wherever we were before we were here, I bet that we were so excited and on the edge to be able to come to this world and live every emotion that comes with love, because I think everything stems from love, and I think that is the fuel that people need to be able to bear the fact that we won't ever be able to understand something as complex as love. Yeah, I've learned so much this year, but overall, just the capacity and the intensity that comes with every feeling we have.
Do you still see yourself doing what you do in the next 5 to 10 years?
Oh yeah, 100%. I do so many things, and I love so many different art forms, but I think overall, like design and acting, music. Those are things that I definitely see myself being involved in, you know, until I die. I don't produce or I don't create music, but I love to really indulge myself in it. I love swimming in music. It's something that motivates me in design and acting. But yeah, I think with acting and design and music, like those three, I definitely feel the most in tune with myself, and I definitely feel that with those I'm able to express my emotions and my thoughts the best.
What are you most grateful for?
There are so many things to be grateful for. Honestly, off the top of my head, and I think this might be the thing that I'm most grateful for, and I will be the most grateful for, is the chance to live in the slim percentage that we get to be here. You know, if you really think about it, it's such a small sliver of a chance that we all get to be here. And I think that is the thing that I'm most grateful for, because there are so many wonderful things that you can experience within the first year of your life. You know, within a day, you can experience the most wonderful, magical things. And without getting to be here, all the things that you love, all the things that you hate, all the things that you're grossed out by, or things that you're scared of, you know, you wouldn't be able to know those things about yourself. And I think with being here and the many chances that I've been given to start over or to keep going, the most thing that I'm appreciative about in being able to live is to experience the love my parents have for me. I think that is something that is, I think that's the safest that I'll ever feel, is being able to feel my parents' love.